So the script goes to the spreadsheet. All of that data that goes into the spreadsheet then will give the indexes, but that information needs a way to go back to Google Ads and then be assigned basically a label, which will be that index. Basically, you will add a spreadsheet URL right here, and this is where your product IDs are going to get uploaded. Put your merchant ID right in there. You'll go ahead and then based on whatever your campaign is optimizing towards, you will fill out these details. Of course, if you are optimizing towards ROAS, you will make that true. If you're optimizing towards CPA, you'll make that true. Of course, don't make both true or both false. And then
do you have to put in your own Google Sheet link? Like make a new sheet and then put that in there?
Yeah,
so that it'll pop. Okay.
Because like most scripts have some sort of thing within here that you click on, and then it just prompts you to create a new script. Yeah. But from the sounds of it, you just create a spreadsheet and then you'll replace this. So it's possible too that before we updated that, that's what this was. But that's the easier part. Once you get there, you're fine. And so threshold settings, this is where you start to create everything you need to establish your index. So conversion lag, note that your conversion lag that you put in here is going to impact how often your data gets uploaded. So if you have a 30-day conversion lag, even if it's like 30 days ahead, there's gonna be a 30 delay between when this data is populated. So we're technically 30 days out from this if it's updating every day.
Does it need to be based on your conversion lag, or can it be based on how frequently you want the data updated?
We've been messing around with it, and I don't think I think you can get away with just kind of tinkering with it, doing what's best for your business, because we've seen that if you have it too large, you don't see like a significant of updates. And so when we see people having trouble with it, the most common thing we say is decrease your lag time.
The thing with that too, Andrew, is because this is generally used in shopping network, the conversion lag for shopping's pretty small anyway.
Yep.
I'd be looking at your conversion lag for anything that's shopping related, standard shopping or PMAX feed only. Have a look at that conversion lag and work on that. And it's usually anywhere between 2 to 5 days, we're finding.
This should be changed, I'm also thinking, as we're looking at this. Like, it's pretty crazy. We can do that later.
So if you're running like feed only PMAX plus full build PMAX, then you would look at your feed only conversion lag as opposed to your just account level conversion lag.
Yeah. And the thing you got to be mindful of too is if you're doing full build PMAX, it's going to be doing remarketing. So it's going to be in display and YouTube, which means theoretically your conversion lag is going to be wider.
Yeah.
But because the shopping network has historically has a smaller conversion lag, we find that the quicker you give the conversion data to the script, the better it optimizes in moving these products between indexes.
Yeah, gotcha. That makes sense.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Glenn Wilson.
Oh, so I'm here for you, Big Cheese.
Yeah. T-ROAS difference setting. This is just like the variability, like difference in percentage between your target ROAS. And that's just what makes the difference between over and near. And yeah, this is
so
that's
how you give it. And sorry, I know I'm narrating a lot, but that's how
this is good. This is good.
That's how you kind of make sure that you give it an appropriate index range above or below for your over and under index.
Yeah, and that's what's going to define, like, if it's 20%, like 20% below, 20% over. I guess this is just anything over at that case, but say it would be for these two, I suppose.
Yep.
All right, and then I think that kind of is it for all of the items that you need. So once you have that here, the next step is to go to the Merchant Center. And then when you go to the Merchant Center, you of course will pick the GMC account that you're working on, or else you're going to have all sorts of problems. And you'll set up a supplemental feed. And here you'll say that I have already done this. I have my Flowboost Labelizer. And this is basically my little intermediary between my spreadsheet. So the script goes to the spreadsheet. All of that data that goes onto the spreadsheet then will give the indexes. But that information needs a way to go back to Google Ads and then be assigned basically a label, which will be that index. And so if, like, long story short, basically this goes from Google Ads to the spreadsheet, and then it gets this custom label. But at this point, it just exists in a spreadsheet. So then we want to connect this spreadsheet to supplemental feed, as that's what's going to give that custom label of what index it's going to be. And from there, you'll be able to actually start updating things. And so, Andrew, we were talking earlier about how often this can update.
Mm-hmm.
Your indexes can be updating, I mean, daily, weekly, monthly, depending on how you want to do things. Within the script itself, you can have the actual data updating in the spreadsheet daily, but let's say you don't want to push it every day, you want to push it weekly, then you can do it that way. I don't know if there's like a beautiful blend. I think it is preference based. Other important things, like, yeah, you set this all up. I'm just seeing if there's any like important pieces to say here, but I believe it's just basically adding that sheet, making sure the schedule set up properly. And then once you do that, you'll have that link set up. And then once that link is set up, you can determine how you want to set your campaigns up. And so the more simple setup that we have is a campaign for no index. And there was previously a campaign for under index in here, but we just straight up got rid of it. Right now, this client doesn't have a lot of inventory. So we're kind of trying not to spend too much money here. But with that, you can see like our best performing campaigns within the last 30 days or so. And I guess my caveat that I should quickly have is we, of course, use global metrics and don't just keep our eyes focused on Google Ads. Yeah. But that being said, we still see that our campaign that has all of our better indexes does well. A thing that can get people kind of confused is you have to remember that near index, over index, and index, this title is never changing, right? But the products within this campaign are going to be updating on whatever basis you've set. So you can have like 282 here in the last like 7 days or whatever, right? But if you were to go into here, and I know this isn't the best example because I'm not using the same time frame, but when you're gonna go into here, I hate how this thing keeps popping up. Here we go. These aren't always gonna match because this is live, like this is updating every day or every 7 days, whereas your campaign isn't. And so the products that are going in and out are going to change what the ROAS is here compared to that other campaign. We're still collecting the ROAS from products that are no longer there anymore, if that makes any sense.
Have you been able to kind of find a happy medium between how frequently your actual products are getting updated in the campaigns versus how frequently your data is being imported into your sheet being generated from the script? Or is it just kind of ad hoc and kind of how you need it based on kind of campaign needs and that kind of thing?
Yeah, like I wish I could give like a real like strategic answer, but you know, we did start slow. Like we started out kind of fearful of like, if we open this thing up, is it gonna just go wild and screw everything up? So we started with like every 7 days. We've been talking about like every 30 days. And then we've basically been winding it down. I think Glenn has even winded it down further, or we've had people who are basically daily. I've just winded it down to my sheet updates every day and my actual indexes. So when we go into here and let's say we look at these items, so the items within my campaigns get updated every week, and I've liked that. So I've been happy with that. Maybe I'll actually take you guys to the right section here.
Yeah, that feels,
Yeah.
I feel that feels like a good, happy kind of middle ground. If you're just kind of in that situation where you want to try and utilize the labelizer without it going like super crazy, it feels,
Yeah, a week feels good, right?
Yeah.
It's just like I always joke, you know, it's just it's a vibes kind of thing. A week, the vibes, they're pretty good there. And yeah, so with everything we talked about too, if you missed it, with everything we've done now, you can now find your products in here, and depending on what, there's different versions of Flowboost available now. So this is the old version. I believe it is on label 4, custom label 4, that you'll find all these indexes. And so how you set this up is kind of up to you, but you can now have your products flow in and out of any campaign based on index. So these campaigns can be much more live, and you can prioritize products that are your best performers. And so one of the things I've done is just put all my top performers in one campaign, and during our more busy times like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holiday period, I was just scaling this up. Interestingly enough, I was seeing my no index campaign do really well. And so what I've done is I actually put more budget and a lower goal on my no index campaign, because these are your items. Just trying to actually find the value so you can see what I'm talking about here. So 260, 139. But what you can see here is that these are your items that aren't getting enough visibility. So ideally, you want to do everything you can to get them more visibility, because this will then determine, are they going to be a poor performer? Or are they going to go into the near index, over index, and so on and so forth? So the relationship between these two is kind of that like cycle that you want to just try to scale, and increase those budgets. For a period, we were basically going in and adjusting the target ROAS based off of Google's in-app numbers. If you go into the actual physical mobile app, go into the settings, and then when you go into the settings and go into Google's ROAS settings, every day it will give you a value. We were doing that. We were having success. Truthfully, we've just kind of fallen off a little bit there. Whether or not it's like the best thing to do might be up for debate, but we have seen success with in the past, just not doing it right this second. On to the next thing, if you want to take this a step further, is actually segmenting it with the indexes already attached. So it's like you basically have your 3 or 4 indexes, and then you can go further to have like an category. So let's say I have my Valentine's collection, and you know, you want to prioritize things for a sale. And so if you want to do that, the best thing I found that you can do is basically just create a new custom label. You can do this in like Simprocess or Data Feed Watch, or you can even use a supplemental feed in Google Merchant Center if you have to. Do it like the quick and dirty way. From there, you would then create a new custom label. Just the big thing to do is make sure you don't use the same custom label as what your Flowboost items are in, or else it won't work together. But this is in custom label 4, and then in custom label like 0 or something, I then have Valentine. What I'm going to do for this client is then have all of their seasonal items go into this custom label 4. So it'll be like St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, spring break, and so on and so forth. And those are going to be sale items or just new period pieces that they want to promote. And so we know that there's going to be an added priority there. So what I want to do is basically ensure that I can prioritize these newer products and then add these indexes as well. So just to keep things simple, I'm just reducing or completely eliminating the under index. And now I just have what would be the better products performing. If you have enough budget, you can break these out as much as possible. Like I know you see that I had this one campaign that's like near index, over index, and index. Ideally, I would break that out into 3 different campaigns, and then you could really start to scale. But like the sky's the limit, really. You could just keep breaking this up, and like say if you have an e-commerce brand where you have like actual direct brands, you could have something set up where you actually have a different category for every single brand. Within that brand, you still are running Flowboost. And so you basically can start scaling every single individual category based on what's performing best. And you get yourself in a really good position there. There's more scalability, control. And I think about if you're running something like PMAX, this is finally giving you an actual lever to pull. And if you're able to have these categories within PMAX, I think what's interesting is that you can actually start to define your campaigns a little more. Like if it's full build, and this is a category, say it's like shirts, you can have ad copy related to shirts. You can maybe show shirt products or something. So it's giving you a little more control. And we know that if things all line up and work well, if you do have more relevant content, conversion rate will be better. It's just a matter of the attribution and pixels and all that fun stuff communicating properly. We know that's getting harder, but this may be a way around that. And I think that's the rant.
Lovely. I think
so.
That...
To answer your question, yes.
Yes, it is. It is a living, breathing thing that isn't just a one and done kind of thing.
Yeah, it's been good. I'm liking playing around with it. There's a whole new version out, and I think they're trying to take this to the next level where like it comes out of the box and built in, and like there's more levers you can pull. So I haven't learned yet.
Inside the script itself, then you can kind of like recategorize things instead of having to finagle it a little bit more.
Yeah, Glenn, do you want to show it quickly?
No.
Come on.
Something's going to mess you up big time, though.
What? Oh, because it's not in custom label 4 anymore?
It's custom label 0.
Well, that completely screws everything I just did yesterday.
Yeah.
And I knew this.
They changed the custom label to 0. The good thing is now in the old version, they only gave you the ID. Now they give you the actual name of the product so you can actually see what's performing well along with the ID.
That's really nice.
That is nice. Yesterday I was looking, and for examples, when say if you don't have, Simprocess doesn't do enough customization for you, you could just make a supplemental feed based off of those product titles.
What they do have is they have this filter tab here where you can start filtering by product IDs. Now you can grab like multiple product IDs and then start looking at graph segments by different labels. Now, I've asked the developer to shoot us a video on a use case for this. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. But and all the configuration for 3.2, you know, inside the script, you put all those settings inside the script. Everything's now done here under this tab. So you don't need to go in to the script to keep changing things. You can do it from here and change all your different settings. They've got some more filter configurations where you can filter by brand, availability, condition, and channel. And yeah, it's all this new stuff here. We're still working out how to use it. Like it's only just like literally come out in the last couple of weeks. So there's literally no information in there about, or I can find anywhere about doing this. So the developer's going to try and get a use case for us and shoot us a video to see how this might work.
Sweet.
But then we using these filters, we can build out graphs on individual products. So we theoretically could really narrow down and create shopping campaigns for one product or multiple groups of products together and look at that performance. But and they have an MCC version. So this is the MCC Flowboost Labelizer. So what I've done is, instead of having what we could do is add this. You add the script once to an MCC account. All you do then is put in your ID of each account, duplicate the sheet, and it's all done. And
oh man, that'd be so nice.
Yep. So we could have 50 accounts in here, and each account will have its own link. So you're not having to set it up 50 times. You can do it once, and it's done.
Yeah, that'd make our lives a lot easier.
I feel like there's no reason not to give it a shot for like every e-commerce client, unless you can do it manually. Like unless you have like 9 SKUs, then I'm like, okay, you can go in there and like tinker around. But if you do have more than 9 SKUs, then I think it's worth checking out.
I was actually asking, I love when I get to just like throw Glenn into things, but Glenn was doing some analysis on PMAX campaigns yesterday, and I was like, oh, how many asset groups do you have in there? And he's like, 12. I'm like, you have 12 in one campaign? And he's like, yeah. And then he was showing me how he's going through it.